Hang on, guys. Hang on in the back. We're going live here. But I don't... Oh, it is... Hang on, guys. We're going live. Kids, turn on the... Well, heck. Turn on the studio lights, kids. You guys are no help at all.
I don't know what you mean by studio lights.
Okay, Hey, Pete, pull up the YouTube live there and see if it's working. Pull up the YouTube live and see if it's working. Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear and see me now, guys? Yeah. Is it working? Is it working now? Working. Okay, audio. How's the audios? 5x5? All right, good. Okay, now if I can not mess this up, let's see what we got here. We want to check things out as the winds pick up this afternoon. Kids, now I need to see some way of pull up that on an iPad so I can see the chat. Can you pull it up so we can see the chat there, Jenny? Because I can't see the chat now. The questions from the audience. All right, it is Saturday, the 21st of August, 2:53 p.m. Let's get our winds up to speed here. Saturday, the 21st at 3 p.m. So we're picking up 11 or 12 knots of wind. It's blowing a bit out there in the backyard. What I want to show you, let's see, Zoom Earth. Let's bring it up to speed here. Let's back it up a couple hours. So the southwest flow has picked up. It's blown a lot of the smoke out of here, and it's standing these columns up pretty good right in here. And the Caldor fire, we're going to go to the alert wildfire cameras and take a good look at how these columns are standing up really quick this afternoon as a result of this southwest flow. All right, can you see that okay there? Jenny, I need the chat up. Thanks. Okay, where are we at now? We're at the Omo Ranch camera. This is on the south and yeah, thanks. Oh, good. Thanks, Jenny. This is on the south and end of the fire, looking to the north and to the east. So the camera is downwind of the fire. The winds are blowing away from the camera towards the fire. But let's do the 1 hour look back on this. Let's see if I can pull it up. Yeah. So here it was just an hour ago. Smoke's been laying down all morning, and then just in the last hour, watch this pop up here. And this is the closest area that may be to the populated areas here at Omo Ranch. Still laying down. And then right in here, just in the last, 30 minutes or so, there it goes. And that looks to be just very close over that ridge. So that's one hot spot on the, if you're joining us live right now, this is the Caldor fire, just south of Highway 50. Looking on the Omo Ranch 2 camera, looking from the foothills out towards Lake Tahoe. Let's pick another one of these wildfire cameras and take a look. Let's try this one here. Come on, it's not working. Well, let's try a different one here, see if we can reset it. Okay, what's going on with my viewer here? There we go. Okay, this is Leak Springs. This is looking back to the west. Let's get a 1 hour look back on this. So now we're looking at the right flank of this fire at this time. And you can see that southwest flow picking this column up pretty tall. So that would be driving the fire towards Highway 50. Again, we're talking about the Caldor fire here in Northern California, just south of Highway 50. We're looking at some of the alert wildfire cameras. Let's take a look at this one. This should be the Armstrong Lookout. This is looking towards the north and a little bit west, looking back towards Placerville. Let's do the 1 hour playback. See, the smoke is just, if you go back more than an hour, there's just simply too much smoke and you can't see. There, now all of a sudden, the smoke's cleared up, the wind's picked up. Look at the trees moving, indicating the southwest flow, and then the quite aggressive pickup in fire activity associated with these winds. The temperatures outside are pretty mild. Pete, what's the outside air temperature right now? 77 degrees. So it's not the kind of heat we've experienced all this last week. It's quite cool out, but this is now a wind-driven event. The winds are much more of a factor than the temperature right now. Let's pick up a different camera here. What do we got? Alder Hill? No, that's disregard. Let's go back and see what we can see on this camera here. Blue Canyon. I'd be surprised if we can see anything from here. Yeah, it's tough to see anything. Blue Canyon's just up the hill from us, looking back down towards Placerville area. And now let's see if we can go look and see what's going on up with the Dixie fire up north of here. This would be right in the middle of it. I'd be surprised if you could see anything here. Yeah, just a bunch of smoke there at Butt Lake. Let's see if we can see anything here. This is probably going to be smoked out. Hamilton Mountain, nothing but smoke. Let's pick another one here. There's got to be something that's looking at the Dixie fire. Shingletown's still all smoked out up there. Well to the north and looking south. Sawmill, not much to look at there. Already tried Hamilton Mountain. They don't have these cameras pointing the right direction. East Quincy. Just totally smoked out. Do we have anything that looks at the Janesville area? Still smoked out. So probably not able to do a lot of aerial firefighting. Let's go over to Flight Radar 24. We got, this is, again, this is up in the Dixie fire area. It's mostly helicopters, and helicopters that can fly a little lower and slower in the fire area. I don't see a big air show going on up there at the Dixie fire, primarily due to all that smoke. But now, back down here on the Caldor fire, we've got Air Attack 500. That's one of our low-level lead plane capable Broncos. Who else we got here? We had the infrared ship here looking earlier. Here's one of the Air Attack ships. So it looks like they're concerned about two areas on this fire. Highway 50 right about here, and then further down Highway 50 closer to the populated area. The infrared ship was here zigzagging back and forth, getting good infrared imagery to send back for further mapping to try and figure out where the hot spots are. But now that the smoke is lifted, they could see it visually from the Air Attack aircraft. And earlier they had some of the large helicopters from Southern California, the large Coulson helicopters from Southern California, working this fire as well. The rest of these appear to be civilian aircraft not associated with the fire. Ah, there we go. Wait, look at that. Huh, is that another infrared ship? I've never seen what is that, a Cessna Conquest? I've never seen that before on contract. But it looks like he's doing an infrared pattern right over the Grizzly Flats area that burned so badly the other day. So with these winds, are they going to be able to do much of a aerial attack on the fire at this time? Hard to say. I don't see anything coming out of McClellan right at the moment. Oh, here comes Tanker 102. Oh, where'd Tanker 102 go? There it is. The Mad Dog firing off out of McClellan. This is the MD-87 where they've got to drop with the gear down to meet the FAA requirements for stability, I suppose, on the drop. That's been a long-going debate as to why they got to drop with the gear down on that particular air tanker. So we'll see where Tanker 102 is headed. Fires near Auburn, California. No, well, the ones we're talking about the Caldor fire, which is not necessarily near Auburn, California, but is up here more closer to Placerville. Yeah, we're currently safe right here at the Blanco Lirio headquarters, but eventually that may not be the case, just depending on how the fires go. That Conquest, you say, has been around for a day or two? Thanks. Yeah, I'm up here at the airport, so come on up anytime. Kegu, you know where we're at. Pete, say hi.
Hello.
Pete, can you check the comments here and see if I want to scroll over there and scroll those comments with the wrong mouse. And yeah, it's been very confused on that. It's an FAA thing, why they got to drop with the gear down. Very confusing issue. Who's this? Guard 866. Don't know. Who is Romeo Alpha? All right, that's our air attack platform. Who is Bravo Romeo? Okay, there's another infrared. That's the other pattern I was looking for. Look at that nice, even infrared mapping pattern right over the fire right now. 18 Bravo Romeo. What? Timed out. Come on, boys. You know I'm a gold member. Let's go back to here. Let's get re-logged in. Log in. What I wanted to do was go over to Kabul, Moose 79. We're switching now. If you're just joining us, we're doing some wildfire live coverage here in Northern California, and now we're switching over on Flight Radar 24 to check on the situation in Kabul as far as the emergency air evacuation goes, and it looks like they're getting a lot of air traffic safely in and out of Kabul right now. Pete, where's the airport at? There's Kandahar. Oh, here we go. All right, there's Kabul. So a quick C-17 update. I talked with some other C-17 pilots about tactical approaches using the C-17. When the aircraft first came out, it was capable of doing a tactical approach with all four engines in reverse, which is virtually unheard of to have to ever have a jet engine allowed to use reverse thrust in flight. They would do them two at a time symmetrically, and that would result in huge descent rates, like about 20,000 foot per minute rates of descent. And they could come from the high cruising altitudes right down to low level altitude in a matter of minutes or less. And you could do a very tight spiral pattern right over the area of responsibility to avoid ground fire because right here in Kabul is a classic example where they only have solid control right in a very small area. No telling what kind of control they have outside of the airfield here with this current situation. So, but those full reverse thrust descents created a lot of noise and a lot of hard wear and tear on the airplane. And so I believe to this day, or today, they're no longer using the full reverse thrust descents for a tactical approach procedure, at least in practice, on the C-17. And I think instead they've just gone to a idle descent situation. and still using a tight approach pattern and then an assault landing, which with the C-17, you can get this aircraft in and out of about as short as 3,000 feet. So things are going so far a little smoother for the air evacuation out of Kabul, and there's been a lot of air traffic moving a lot of people out of there. All right, let's get back over to the wildfire situation here in the States, here in California. Take a look at, let's see, that's Auburn right there, Sly Park. Yeah, what was Guard 866? Doesn't say. He's down there low, though. And Air Attack 500 is still lingering around looking for some tankers to work. Where did our Mad Dog go? See where Mad Dog tanker went, Pete? No. Okay, so that's the zoom Earth view. Still got the plumes blowing up out of the south and then eventually off to the east. Let's take one more look at the wildfire cameras before we sign off. Let's go back down towards the... Why can't we do this here? Towards the Caldor fire. Just pick one of these, Blue Canyon, and we'll pick one of these, Bunker Hill, and then we'll pick this one down here. And let's play that 1 hour playback, see if anything's changed much here. This is the Armstrong lookout, and this is going to turn into a giant pyrocumulus cloud here very soon. And that's getting a hard push off to the north and east. Let me move that in a little better so you can see it a little better. There, how's that look? Current view coming up. That's 1458, 3 o'clock. We got 309 here now. Yeah, that's... Tanker 911's on the move? All right, yeah, go ahead and shout it out, Pete, what you see there. Okay, is that Tanker 911 on the move out of McClellan? That should be one of the big DC-10 tankers. Let's go back to look at this. Where was that camera that was showing Omo? I want the Omo Ranch. Leak Springs, let's take another look at that. Okay, that's a little farther view looking due west. Take a 1 hour look back on that. This is the Leak Springs. Putting up a lot of smoke out of here. So we're going to get a lot of movement on this Caldor fire today. Where, Pete, is the Omo Ranch camera? Omo Ranch 2. Let's try this. Let's let Leak Springs roll out here to current time, 1509. All right, let's go Omo Ranch. Let's go to the second Omo Ranch camera. How do I get that one underneath there? Omo Ranch 1. Yeah, there we go. Again, this is the down towards the heel of the fire. And this is of concern for the populated areas. Right there, that's a hot spot just picked up in the last hour. Now, if I hit that, does that make it go away? No. Trying to get a feel for where exactly this camera is located on a wider map, but that looks like that's working down in this canyon already, right down here by Sly Park. Let's try going down to here. Omo Ranch, Sly Park, Omo Ranch, and then what is this? Middle fork of the Consumnes River. Wow. So This fire's the wind's driving the fire away from these populated areas, but it looks like we've got a hot spot down here, somewhere down here, fairly close to Omo Ranch, maybe down in the middle Fort Consumnes River Canyon area. So that's the current view from the Caldor fire here in Northern California. As these winds pick up, we've got another hour or so of winds, pretty stiff winds out of the southwest, and then these winds are going to die down. And then as this front passes by us, hopefully from there and in the forecast, the winds will simply die down. We'll have a gentle southwest wind, the normal summer pattern, and we will not get a big north blow out of this particular weather front at this time. And that'll be just the break firefighters will need to keep things under control. Hey, thanks, Truckee 1313. Cal Topo shows a big advancement northeastward. Okay. Let's see. You know, to support the channel besides Super Chat, PayPal works as well. And then Patreon, of course. What else we got there, Pete? Yeah, we need a lot of rain, all right. Pete's always a good boy until he's not. Pete needs a mic. No, he's loud enough. Go through the comments here real quick. Okay, good. Pete, read this comment off to me here about Guard 866. What is he saying?
Guard 866 along with 865, 863 are Black Hawks out F
Mather. Black Hawk helicopters out of Mather. Good, good news.
Okay.
All right.
UH-60.
This fire, is it on the Tahoe or El Dorado National Forest? I think it's on a little bit of both. I'd have to go look at the map to verify for sure. I think mostly El Dorado. Tanker 911 on the move. LiDAR digital imaging, is that what you're thinking is going on there? Could be. The smoke here locally has cleared out, thank goodness. It was terrible last night and this morning, and now with this southwest flow, things have brightened up quite a bit. Here on the Zoom Earth, you can begin to see the ground again, which is a good sign. Now, what's going on here? Interstate 80, no, that's too far away, way too far away. Interstate 80 is good to go for now, so we're just talking Highway 50 is closed. Highway 80 is fine.
Chinook's coming in.
Chinook's coming in, two big Chinooks? Yeah. All right. And those were what? Those were the guard call signs, right? Like this Guard 866. What are these guard aircraft, Pete, again? They're the which aircraft from Mather?
Wait, what?
The helicopters, the guard aircraft? Blackhawks? Okay. Yeah. Coming in from Mather.
I think.
Okay. He's not a part of the thing. Okay, there's our air attack. There's the smaller helicopters. K-Max. The twin rotor, super high lift helicopter.
Is it east of Whitehall or heading toward it?
Not sure about the Whitehall reference there. Not sure. Okay, so these guys are... He's way down here. Wow, working down here at Highway 88. So this is part of the containment area. They wanted to try to keep it north of Highway 88 here. So that's what Air Attack 500 is looking at. What's coming out of the... Here comes Tanker 911. Now, where's he going? He's going right past this fire at this time. Don't know. So that's the the news from now. Thanks, Aviation Mayhem. He asks, is wildfire smoke a hazard to aircraft engines? No, not really. Just the smoke itself. You'll eventually need to change your air filters out much sooner than normal. Just like if you're doing a lot of dirt runway operations and playing in the dirt, you're going to get a lot of debris in your air filters and want to clean them out sooner than normal. But no, they can breathe just fine through the smoke. However, in a wildfire situation, if you get in thick wildfire smoke, then you do run a hazard of causing problems with the engines, because what's inside of this wildfire smoke is just amazing amounts of debris. When this river fire popped off of here just 5 miles south, we were up at Nevada County Airport. And Pete, do you got any examples of those leaves still? Whole leaves and whole branches and whole magazine pages were falling out of the sky from 5 miles away. If you're even closer into the fire, I mean, you could see whole branches, basically FOD, that could cause damage to your aircraft engines, jet engines specifically. So that's why you always got to do your retardant drops such that you're staying out of the thick smoke of the direct from the fire itself. CH-47's out of Stockton. Yeah, the Clear Lake fire went out pretty quick, but not until it quickly took out those 50 motor mobile homes. The super tanker. Well, we talk about the super tanker a little bit. The 747, the politics, the money. The bottom line was, I think the investors got tired of pouring good money after bad and pulled the plug on the funding of the operation. And then the Forest Service had some nits on the contract that they were constantly after them to fix, and they didn't quite get fixed. But ultimately, the 747 is not the most effective tool in the toolbox for these kind of fires here in Northern California. Not always. It could be of some help, but it was big, it was expensive, it took a long time to turn it around. It could only use 2 bases here in California to turn around in to begin with. The fire people have determined that they have had much better luck using these KC-10 air tankers and C-130 size air tankers as large air tankers, because they can turn quickly and they can maneuver much better than the big 747 down in the technical terrain of these California wildfires. A 747 is great for a big, wide, long swath of retardant in relatively flat, grassy terrain. But when you get into these mountains and canyons and that sort of thing, it gets harder to usefully use that retardant on a long straight line, like out of the 747. So it was quite a debate amongst fire crews as to just how effective really was the 747. And again, none of these aircraft put out the fire. All they're doing is retarding the advance of the fire, putting in contingency lines, backup to the backup, plan A, B, and C, perhaps in some cases. So the aircraft and air assets are just another tool in the toolbox. They do not directly put out the fire. They only work hand in hand with the boots on the ground, and they are a very expensive tool in the toolbox. At 5 o'clock today, I'm going to head out to a gentleman's house here near Colfax, California, where the river fire burned a few weeks ago, and he pre-treated his house with Phos-Chek, with the same stuff that the air tankers drop out of their aircraft. He pre-treated his house with, and his house survived the river fire, and he was right, not in the middle of it, but well into from the edge of it, and his house survived. So hopefully I'll have a report here soon for how that worked. It'll be the first time I've seen the use of fire retardant Phos-Check fire retardant from a homeowner's perspective. You can apparently buy this stuff on the market and pre-treat your house. And you can pre-treat it way in advance of the fire season, and then the rains, once they come back, will eventually just wash it off. The fire retardant that homeowners use is just a clear retardant. Of course, you don't need the pink dye in it that the tankers have, because the tankers are using it to see it on the ground to find out where they need to continue and extend their drops from. So that'll be interesting to see. I'm going to meet him out there soon. I got to get going. Let's see. Yeah, mostly what's the fire retardant itself: fertilizer, clay, water, and the red dye. My passion for all of this aerial firefighting comes from, well, it's where I grew up. I grew up right here at Nevada County Airport. We had the Grass Valley Air Attack Base right here at the airport, and these were the guys I grew up with. We watched them back in the day when they had all the World War II aircraft, single-engine TBMs, B-25s, F-7Fs were based here for years. Just some of the greatest aircraft from World War II, or B-17 bombers were being used to fight these fires back in the day. And so I was always very interested with it, and eventually got on with the Forest Service as a lead plane pilot, did a year of training to become one of the lead plane pilots for the Forest Service before the airlines called, and I've been at the airlines ever since, but staying in contact with this industry ever since getting on with the airlines. 23 years ago now. 24? How long has it been, Jenny? Bakersfield fire. Oh, yeah, so they got something else going on down. Yeah, looks like he's heading south. So they must have, oh, there goes Tanker 102's heading way down there, too. Oh, crud, here we go. We got a whole nother incident I'm not even aware of down here in the Bakersfield area. Oh, yeah, there's lead 55. Once again, Lake Isabella area on fire. This is the Kern River Canyon area. Tanker 164, lead 55. Air Attack 504. All right, if you guys can get me a name, an incident name on that fire, we'll go look it up. So there's a whole nother, this is a problem where we're stretching our resources so thin now, and they got to decide, well, which fire can we most effectively use our air assets on at this particular time. So it looks like right now a lot of our air assets are getting stripped down here to the Lake Isabella area, Kern River area, just outside of Bakersfield, California. Wow. Thanks for the heads up on that. French fire, is that it? Is that the name of this fire down here in the Bakersfield area? Got it. Water drops. Good question about water drops. Twin Otters doing water drops. Out west here, the water drops are largely ineffective from fixed-wing air tankers. What we need water drops for out west here is direct attack on hot spots, which are most effectively done by helicopter. So a helicopter with a Bambi bucket can not exactly hover, but almost hover, or come very slowly and very accurately and drop water directly onto a hot spot on a fire. And air tankers, fixed-wing air tankers, are simply going so fast that in order to safely drop, about 120 knots or so, that by the time you take just pure water at 120 knots and 150 feet above the vegetation in these winds, by the time you let that water go, it's often just dispersed and darn near evaporated by the time it hits the fire. And oftentimes the winds will just pick up that water and carry it right up and over the ridge. So out west here in these wind-driven events, water drops from fixed-wing aircraft are largely ineffective. And you need the weight of the clay inside the retardant, plus to effectively coat the vegetation. And it, with the ingredients in the retardant, it'll stay. It doesn't just evaporate. It stays on the vegetation and is effective for quite some time, as I talked about in the morning briefing, where they will treat the green side of a dozer line and then backfire that dozer line later on that night. That retardant is still effective overnight and into the next day, the retardant that they laid down on the green side or the opposite side of the fire of a dozer containment line. Let's go over to IncyWeb and see if we got anything on the French fire. Let's go IncyWeb. Boom. Down to here. Can you see that okay? Yeah. Okay, French fire. All right, here we go. So what's the story? I've not been following this. This is 11,295 acres, 5% contained. When did this fire start? We've got evacuation orders. Isabella Highlands, Sawmill, Alta Sierra, Dutch Flats. A lot of the same names as we have up north. When did it start? Date of origin, Wednesday, 18 August. All right, 18, 19, 20, 21, 4 days ago. And it looks like it's taken off a bit from the winds down there. Let's take a look at what the winds are down there. Oh, yeah, you got your typical desert winds out here. And then the winds don't look too bad out here in the Lake Isabella area currently. Were they much stronger earlier? No. So they probably got clear air and light winds to effectively use some aerial retardant on this French fire down here by Lake Isabella. This is the... Did we even look at this? Here's the, I don't know how current this is, but I believe this is the infrared data from NASA showing the hot spots. Again, we're looking here at the Caldor fire. So plenty of heat all around the Caldor fire today. Let's go down and see if we can see anything on this French fire. Oops, overshot. Where are we? Here we are. Oh, yeah. They got plenty of heat in that French fire still, it looks like, as well. So it looks like it started down here and is tracking up towards Lake Isabella. What's a 415? I think that's a reference to the, isn't that the water bombers? Was Shirley Meadows evacuated area? Let's go back to IncyWeb there and see what they were saying. Evacuation orders, mandatory evacuations. Now, this is the French fire we're talking about down by Bakersfield. Are ordered for Isabella Highlands, Sawmill, Alta Sierra, and Dutch Flats until further notice. Here's the evacuation map for the French fire. Now, I don't want to get too involved with these evacuation orders and maps here because I don't want to get caught handing out bad or old or outdated information, because if I pull up something wrong, that's what we could have. But that's the current fire evacuation zone map that I'm seeing for the French fire here near Lake Isabella. So this would be mandatory in red and recommended in yellow. So it looks like north of Highway 178, all the way out to the lake, and south of Highway 155 out to Black Mountain. Looks like they got a spot fire going on right here. So I'm not nearly as familiar with this area out here, but I suspect there's quite a bit of population and recreation going on out here by Wolford Heights and Lake Isabella. Yeah, retardant costs probably, I don't know, $4 or $5 a gallon just for the product once it's mixed with water. It comes in a dry form. And then you got all the cost of applying it, you know, the cost of the aircraft. We got some maps inbound to the Caldor fire. CalTopo has a structures button. CalTopo is more of an app, as I thought. Can I just pull it up here? I love using CalTopo maps for dirt biking. Well, let's see. And I don't have a lot of experience using them. Okay, where's the daily satellite? Yeah, I have to probably pay to play. All right, so you CalTopo guys, what do I need to do to get what I'm looking for on a CalTopo map? Which buttons do I need? Which overlays do I need to get? You said something about structures. Okay, so you're telling me that's where... Ah, brilliant. All right, that's where the houses are. Good. Great tip. Thanks. Look at this. CalTopo map, all the great layers that they have here. If you want to see where the houses are, where the structures are, where the threats to the wildland-urban interface, as they call it, is, click on the structures button, and the yellow is a pretty good indication. So, yeah, Lake Isabella here, right up in here, has got a lot of structures. Yeah, these CalTopo maps are great. They show you all the great single-track trails, the hiking trails, and distinguish between motorized, non-motorized. Map overlay tab fires. Okay. Okay, fire history and fire activity. Very good. Let's try that. There it is. Ah, thanks. Good information. Great information here. So they're taking that MODIS and VIIRS data and overlaying it here onto the CalTopo map, and now you can actually see the relentless march of the fire towards the populated areas and why it's so important to get them evacuated. Fire history. Ah, brilliant. I love it. This is important to know your fire history, because as these current fires burn into historic fires, it will significantly change the activity of the current fire. Sometimes these older fire burned areas can represent a problem in that the old fire has been long enough to where all that's grown back is brush and light and flashy fuels, and it may cause the current fire to run a lot faster. So that's great. It even gives the date. So to the north, you've got the Cedar Fire in 2016. Oh, we could learn a lot using this tool. This is fantastic. 2014, the Way Fire. By looking at this fire history, you can tell that California is designed to burn, and it burns every year, and it needs to burn, and that's part of the problem. We haven't been burning enough, and we've let the fuel loads get too high, and so these mega fires is what you see today as a result. It goes live under fire activity. All right, and Shastina. You can select the wind as an overlay as well. The MODIS view is about 6 hours old. Okay, so let's look at winds. Ah, good. Now you're really getting a big picture. Now, how can we get the wind speeds out of that? Okay, just look at the colors. About 10 miles an hour worth of winds driving that fire right towards Lake Isabella. Fantastic. Now let's take this and go on up to, got something cooking right there. Here's the Caldor fire. Okay, oh, wow. We got a lot of layers going on here, so bear with me. But this is why it's so important that this fire be, the Caldor fire we're talking about, be not stopped, but have the western advance of this fire controlled, because that's where a huge amount of population is, just to the west of the Caldor fire. With these prevailing winds, it's pushing the Caldor fire away from the population up the hills. This is why when we talk about a north wind blow, it'd be potentially devastating because it takes these fires from the mountains and blows it right down into these highly populated areas shown in yellow. So other than that, the rest of most of the structures in this area are along the Highway 50 corridor, and then cabins and such scattered throughout. So let's turn that layer off. Okay, here's what I was talking about, the fire in the Rubicon River area. The King Fire of 2014 burned this huge chunk of land right up the Rubicon River basin, so it took from Highway 50 north. So 14, how many years ago was that? Do the math. 6 years or so. What has grown back in the King Fire scar area? Don't know. But that's the single largest recent history of fire in our area. Of course, over here is the Tamarack Fire from just earlier this year, which the Caldor Fire seems to be heading towards, and the Bear Fire. Now look at these wind speeds here on the CalTopo map. We're seeing yellow and a little orange. So 20, so it's going from 10 to 20 to 30 miles an hour up over the summit, which is pretty common as those winds get compressed, blowing up and over the summit of the Sierra Nevada mountains. Now, let's look at this fire history up to here. So, we're looking at the Dixie Fire. Man. The Camp Fire, and then the North Complex. These giant fires we're seeing in Northern California now are just stripping out huge, entire chunks of forest. For the first time in California fire history, we're seeing fires go completely across the entire Sierra Nevada mountain range and descend down into the desert below and to the east. And this ground zero point right here, just amazing. On this North Fork of the Feather River Canyon, this is the ignition source from PG&E for this Dixie Fire, and this is also the area from PG&E of the ignition source for the Paradise Fire. So now we've got the largest single fire in California history and the most deadliest fire in California history, both starting from nearly the same area here on the North Fork of the Feather River. Now, Dixie is named after Dixie Johnson, a Indian who lived in the Camp Creek area right where both of these fires started. He was a famous tracker Indian who basically, mostly for the most part, kind of lived off the land, but helped officials track down bad guys back in the day. And that was his place right there. And of course, it was the Indians had the right idea of managing these fires by intentionally burning every fall and leaving as they left the high country and letting the fires kind of manage themselves. And that's what we've gotten away from for so many years. And now we're seeing these giant mega fires as a result. So here's the Paradise Fire. Here's the current Dixie Fire. And then here is the North Complex from last year. This, right? Isn't that the Canyon Complex, Nelson, Bean, Feather? Oh, wait a minute. Do they even have it on here? Yeah, that's correct. So this North Complex from last year came up to about 1 million acres. So there's very little left here that hasn't burned very, very recently. There's a little strip here below or around Bucks Lake area that has not yet burned. And then, of course, over on the Mendocino Complex, this was I might have those numbers wrong. I think the North Complex was maybe 700,000 acres, and the North Complex, this is the largest wildfire complex in California history. This was 1 million acre complex right here. So this complex was 1 million acres, and the North Complex was something on the order of 700,000 acres. Both of those fires were last year's fires, 2020 August complex, burning most of the Mendocino National Forest, it seems, and beyond. And this up here in the campfire or the Dixie Fire area was just beautiful, beautiful country that's getting burned to this day. So here again, you can see the hot spots. Let's see how the fight for, well, again, that data is probably 6 hours old or so. The Genesee Valley of the Dixie Fire and the town of Taylorsville. There's Taylor Mountain, but where is Taylorsville? Having a hard time picking it out of this map, but it should be right down in here. Basically Taylorsville is surrounded by fire, but fortunately it's fire that's hopefully being driven away from the town, but it's probably trying to back down the mountain into the wind towards Taylorsville, thus the evacuations. Thanks, Johnny Knoxville. What app is that? Okay, so this is the brand new, to me, CalTopo app, fantastic app, as suggested by you guys here on the live feed today. Look up CalTopo and then hit the different map overlays kind of over here on the right-hand side to see these different views. CalTopo. This is a great map to download and build your own topo maps for trail riding, hiking, and that sort of thing. Will it be beneficial? I don't know. Goes live is more accurate. Is it more timely information? The wind arrows go from skinny to wide. Yeah, CalTopo. I don't know about beneficial, but all this is going to have to burn. And if you're not going to manage it, you're going to lose it. It's going to get lost to wildfire. Yeah, controlled burns are a problem because of the politics involved behind controlled burns and NIMBYism. Folks just don't want to be bothered by the smoke, so instead we just choke ourselves out every summer with these wildfires. I got to do an update on the Geico Skytyper crash and a few other things there. This wildfire thing's been keeping me real busy. We just don't know anything about what happened at AT6. He swerved suddenly on takeoff to the left, ended up in the grass just to the left of the runway, and don't know why. It was the number 3 aircraft of the Geico 6-plane formation. Yeah, Dixie Fires, it's pretty clear, and PG&E basically admitted to it that they did have a problem with one of their transformers, and that was the original ignition source for the Dixie Fire. Regarding these arson reports from the professor, those were subsequent starts well after the initial start of the Dixie Fire. And one of the complications with the start of this Dixie Fire that people are investigating was there a drone that was interfering with the initial attack on the Dixie Fire? I believe the first air attack that first jumped on the Dixie Fire reported that there was a drone in the area and they had to stand off for a bit while they waited to get the drone out of the way or on the ground or figure out whose drone it was. These drones can be individuals, looky-loos, or they can also be other official entities. It could have been a PG&E drone. It could have been, who knows what, a sheriff or something like that. We just don't know. But that was part of the problem with the initial attack on the Dixie Fire. No power equipment. Yeah, national parks, hand tools only. Speaking of that, the national forests are being closed effective Monday for at least a 2 or 3 week period. All our national forests here in the local area are going to be completely closed. You cannot even walk into the national forests as a result of the dry conditions, red flag conditions in all these wildfires. So all our public lands are going to be off limits until further notice. Well, and at least for a couple of weeks. Yeah, great trails around Kernville. The single track trails outside of that Kern River Canyon are fantastic. No, it's not just state lands. These are federal lands. The Northern California and all of California is surrounded by federal forest lands, and these are federal properties. Yeah, it's the feds that own the majority of property here in California, but it can often be California politics or California special interest groups that lobby very hard to prevent the Forest Service from doing prescribed burns on federal land. So it's a long, complicated story. Speaking of that, let me see if I can pull this up. There's a new video out called Bring Your Own Brigade. It's not a video, it's a documentary. Let me see if I can get past these ads here, and let me see if I can redo this. What the heck, is this it? No, that's another ad. This looks very interesting. This is a documentary done by Lucy Walker, CBSN Films, and it looks to me like this documentary might potentially actually take a little effort to look at some of the different problems that are associated with these wildfires here in California. It's not just one thing like you hear about in the media or from the politicians. It's a whole bunch of things that are coming together to cause these unprecedented wildfires. So I'm looking forward to learning more about this new documentary called Bring Your Own Brigade. $3.49 right now. Let's see what we got here. Current Reno Air Races. Yeah, we're moving ahead with the Reno Air Races. We're planning on the Reno Air Races. They will need 3 miles visibility to fly the Reno Air Races. The smoke could be an issue if it gets below 3 miles visibility. But other than that, the air races are going on as planned, and I'll be up there. Yeah, drones are used in firefighting activity. All right, so we got a lot of tanker activity on the French fire down south. Okay, we got some tanker activity. Let's see what Tanker 914 did. Looks like he's working just north of Highway 88. That's the south boundary of the fire. Looks like Air Attack 500 is going to be leading these guys in. MAFS 08 is working his way in for a drop, it appears. And Guard 866, these are I think those are the big Chinook helicopters or Black Hawk helicopters out of Mather. And who is this guy? Yeah, the big Coulson helicopters from SoCal are up here helping us out with the Caldor fire. That Tanker 914, he's got this down pretty good. He's just one quick look and then a descend and a drop, and he's out of here. Maybe we'll watch MAFS 08 here for a minute just before we sign off and get going. Actually, we got to go back and take a look at the alert wildfire camera, see if anything's much changed there. Where do you read up on wildfire survival if you get caught up? I would just, do what the firefighters do. Learn how to use a, well, first just stay out of them. Don't just avoid them altogether. Otherwise, you're going to have to do what the firefighters do with a shelter and all that. And it's terrifying. I would not recommend it. What app are we using right here? This is the Flight Radar 24 app. And before that, we were using the CalTopo mapping app, just introduced to me by you guys here on the chat just now today. Yeah. Yeah, the shake and bake fire shelters, you do not want to mess with that. So, let's see, what do we got here? Doesn't have his altitude. Oh, there it is, 7,500 feet, yeah. So MAF's 08 is, that's one of the high rollers. Mild unit. That's hard to tell with the Flight Radar 24 in real time. Let's try this. Will it give us a 3D view? Look at that. Just slide that over a little bit better. Roll it, boys. 3D view from the Flight Radar 24 is supposed to be able to show you what the aircraft's looking at, but it looks like the data's coming in a little too chunky to really see what's going on. Now, how do we get out of here? Okay, there he's moving now. How do we get back to the map? Air Attack 500 out there. He's still up too high right now. He's just checking things out. Okay, so let's go back to the map. Okay, there it is. Okay, one last look at the, where is the alert cams? Let's get a refresh on this. And let's get a 1 hour view of the OMO camera. And this head was popping up pretty aggressively in the last hour. This is towards the heel of the fire. Omo River Ranch Road, I think it is. And that's still about the same view we looked at earlier. Poof, there goes getting pretty hot down in there. MAF 03 going to the Caldor fire as well. Yeah, the fire mapping is considerably delayed. It could be as much as 12 hours in delay. CalTopo, look, I was using it for free. If you want to use it for trail use, I think you'd need a subscription. Shirley Peak Fire Cam. Can you look at the Shirley Peak Fire Cam? Well, you guys can do this too at home. Any of us can do that. Shirley Peak. JK Elemental P QRS. Is Shirley Peak even on here? Do you see it? I don't see it on there. Yeah, and I'm unfamiliar geographically of where to go find that. And I don't know if you can just type in a request for a particular webcam. Let's go look at the Armstrong here, see if anything's changed there. There's a fixed wing aircraft right there. Let's make sure we get the... Oh, yeah. Okay, that's real time. Yeah, the area is moving further down the line. Let's do the 1 hour look back at the Armstrong lookout. 1 hour. This is looking to the north. So, again, we're looking downwind. And that is just chewing up some real estate. wonder if we're looking at down there in the Highway 50, all the way all the way down there into the Highway 50 canyon or somewhere just south of it. You can see the occasional aircraft fly by on the playback there. Okay. Yeah, Nevada City and Auburn. That's, boy, Cal Topo, again, fire history. This says so much right now. This is why I'm so concerned about our area here in the Grass Valley, Nevada City. Look at that. No recent fire activity in a long, long time here on the Tahoe National Forest. Everything else is getting stripped quite cleanly to our north and to our south, and yet nothing has happened here. And what I don't want to see us get caught in one of those north wind events to strip our forest out around here, because those are by far a much more dangerous wind-driven event, which is what we're going to see more of coming this fall. And we've had no major fire history for quite some time here in the Tahoe National Forest, Nevada County, Sierra County area. All our beautiful single track up here in Sierra County is still there for now. So, all right, I got to get going. Thanks so much for this live look at what's going on. Thanks so much for showing me these Cal Topo maps. I'll incorporate that into future video updates here on the Blanco Lirio channel. Thanks so much for your support over on Patreon that make all this possible. And if you're involved in any of this, heed those evacuation warnings. Get out early. Respect these fires. Maintain your situational awareness, where the fire is or where the wind direction is coming from. Know the forecast for the day, and you can plan your own fire activity based with some basic information. Get out early. Beat the rush. All right, I got to go. Thanks so much for your support. We'll see you here.